Okay, so I'm Joshua Ader, and my presentation is going to be about the human negative dependence on artificial intelligence, or in other words, AI. And then just real quick about me. Of course, like I said, I'm Joshua Ader. I'm a fifth year student at University of West Oahu. I originally graduated from Hawaii Technology Academy. And my major is creative media with a focus in video game development, which might not sound like it has anything to do with what I'm presenting. But I do plan on also expanding this, or if I get another chance to write more about AI, I would also like to discuss about the negative impacts of AI being used in the art industry. So, but as of right now, this presentation is just about the negative impact um in general. So, for my senior capstone project, which is what I will choose to be doing, I would like to present a sort of peer-reviewed journal or article document about my topic, which is basically that the human over reliability, quote unquote, on artificial intelligence or AI doing all the work for us will result in humans becoming lazy or failing to gain and learn new skills, abilities, and knowledge. The purpose of this research is mostly to bring awareness about the negative impacts on humans. That's mostly my argument. And to, um, I didn't not insert that last part, but basically, to specify it's not artificial intelligence that is necessarily the bad thing. It's more so just our own complete dependency on AI that will bring us down. So just and again, my thesis statement, it's just resulting in humans becoming lazy or failing to gain and learn new skills, abilities, and knowledge due to our complete dependency and reliability on AI to do everything for us. Um, the idea about my research that I gathered, um, also in the paper that I did throughout the entire semester, is to identify what makes AI so outstanding and how it outperforms us humans, because obviously we have a reason to use AI so much because it can do all these types of things, either super fast or what would seem like perfect, basically. Of course, not perfect though. And then I also explain how AI is used throughout our everyday lives, as well as the negative effects on human reliability, such as, making us lazier, as well as other things like how it affects jobs and how it also does not make us smarter. Um, and instead of practicum, I did want to do a project on this, more so uh, like a document or article. I would like to try and aim as if like I was to create a somewhat of a published journal or a published book about this basically. Um, and while AI opens the door many possibilities due to its ability to perform us, it also closes the door for many other aspects that affect our society, such as job availability and human self-capabilities, something I've already basically said. So one of which is two major things I would like to touch on. It is text remixing, I would like to call it, as well as complete automation. So first off, starting off with text remixing, um, some of you guys might have heard a public use software online called ChatGPT, which is my example I will use as text remixing, which can gather informations from databases via the internet, and databases include literally websites, forums, articles, etc., because it grabs everything from the internet and brings it all into one, and then uses all different text from everywhere to that. Um, and it drafts what it seeks there and then puts it into one whole thing when a user asks it to collect information about this, or like write me an essay about, for example, let's just say how artificial intelligence can affect art. ChatGPT, when you put it into that, it grabs every single thing on the internet related to that, and it forms it into like a whole paper that you want. Your length is chosen, of course, on the software, and it basically does the work for you. In my paper, I also talked about how students have been using this and how minimal amount of teachers are actually aware of this. Um, and basically, while this might seem like a good thing, it also might not, because students can use this to as exploitation. In other words, to like cheat, as they use it to pass papers, or write papers for them, I mean, to pass tests, or to write them a whole like note sheet about this specific topic rather than doing the research for themselves. And while at the same time, students have been surveyed to only use it to help them on assignments, we also have the ability to use it to completely cheat. And at the end of the day, we aren't entirely sure. We cannot always tell if that person truly used it to fully cheat or just help or not. The main argument is we can exploit it to its limits. And with that ability to be able to cheat, what's the purpose of school? I know a lot of people, especially in colleges, we like to make the argument where at the end of the day, we don't really learn much of what we should learn in real life, because we don't learn things like taxes or businesses or whatever unless we take this specific one class out of everything. But at the same time, we also still learn a lot of other things. And if we're just going to use AI to cheat, there is no purpose in even attending school in the first place. And like an article I've got from Psychology Today, um, it allows students to basically work without using any effort. And about best colleges and the 74, they reported about 58 of students using AI during the years of 2022 and 2023. The second main part, aside from text remixing, is automation, basically. So how you find autopilot in aircrafts or vehicles like Tesla, for example, yeah. Um, and obviously, we rely on autopilot because it is supposed to have complete transportation control over human control, doing the work for us, obviously. Um, but just as we humans are not perfect, we also cannot make a perfect machine. And due to autopilot's due to autopilot's imperfections, auto has this thing called auto disengaging, which forces the human to take control at a time when they are not ready, um, when the machine cannot, I guess, perform over this circumstance. And sometimes it will auto disengage, and us humans are not ready to take over because we're not paying attention, because we just relied so much on it and we're distracted by our phones, a book, or whatever. Um, for some examples of these in the most recent years, well, I forgot to put them in the slide right over here. They take place between the years of 2022 and this modern year. Um, a cause of a Brazil to France plane crash was due to the pilot's inappropriate response following the disengagement of autopilot during a storm. That is one example, of course. And the first death in an accident involving Tesla's autopilot was due to a combination of the autopilot system mistaking a white truck for the sky and the driver's complete lack of attention. And this is something way common that we hear about Teslas, where the autopilot will not react to this sort of object that's in front of it, or it'll mistake it as something else on the screen, right? And then some other data I've gathered, for example, like I said, of course, 58% of students in schools reported for using AI, 29% of which 29% of teachers are aware of students using the AI, but 24% of which have been trained to actually deal with students using the AI, such as how to deal with them using it to completely cheat or whatever. And there are other ways how they try and figure it out, how to get through it. Funny enough, ironically, using other AI, but it's always imperfect. And, sometimes it always doesn't work. Students can still get away with it. Another thing, too, while I haven't really specified it in the presentation, but have more so in my paper, is that about 11,000 retail jobs have been lost due to automation in 2019. And while 2019 seems to be an early year, since things like ChatGPT have only been released kind of recently. AI has already been a thing since like pretty much the like 2011. It's only been gaining rise within the recent years. Tesla autopiloting, of course, has been a thing for a while. Um, but those real talk jobs are just mostly simple things, you know. Uh, you can think of it like self-checkout, for example. While it's not completely AI, it is automation at the end of the day, which is a part of AI. And 48% of businesses in the US have implemented automation, according to Procon, to their research. And 70% of shoppers do prefer to use these automated machines to help them as well, because it is easier at the end of the day. I don't know why I can't go to the next slide. Here we go. So I guess the people that I'm trying to reach out for this type of paper or for my capstone is people who show an interest in the future technology of our world, or that plan to implement AI currently into their life. um, but my main goal at the end of the day, yeah, is to bring awareness of the negative effects of AI. And these audiences may include business leaders, education, teachers, and professors. I don't know why I included education at the beginning of that, but teachers and professors, enthusiasts, as well as the general public, of course, that have shown interest in this. So, while this might not be a perfect solution, I do think this will help immensely, and that is that AI, when made available to the public, whether if it's the general public or only in-house to a specific business, like for example, aircraft, commercial flying, I feel as if AI should be restrictive to the point of helping humans, not spoiling them. And while at the end of the day, AI is actually always restrictive. For example, ChatGPT is only restricted to the internet, but there are other databases around it that it's actually cut off from. But only the general public can access what it can access from the internet, basically. But at the end of the day, I feel like no matter who's using it, I feel like it should always be restricted. And by not spoiling humans, I mean to not come to the point of impeding their abilities, to learn new skills, or to be able to do things. So an example uh, of a different type of AI are virtual assistants. They are very limiting. They are only limited to simple Google searches that we can just do straight off from our phone or computer. Um, but because of how limited they are, they don't make us lazy, nor do they impede our ability to grow and learn. And because of also how limited they are, these virtual assistants, and by virtual assistants, I mean by digital assistants. I believe there's a difference between that. My apologies. But because of how limited they are, we don't rely on them all the time, right? Like Siri, Alexa, Google, Cortana. We don't always rely on them to give us answers that we want. You know, Sometimes they'll give us an answer that is just very basic. Won't really touch down on us. Sometimes they won't give us the right answer we're looking for at all, and that's only because they're really limited to a simple Google search. Whatever we say through the microphone, they will literally just type in the search engine, right? Um, and then another example is more so having to do with autopilot and text remixing. First off, for autopilot, um, more so vehicle assist. I don't know how else to word it, but we should have something more of a vehicle assist rather than autopilot. So, because we will rely on autopilot due to its concept of complete transfer from point A to point B, instead, vehicles should be limiting on what they can do. For example, they can assist with parking in case we cannot parallel park or park in a stall correctly, especially with how people are in America, mostly Hawaii. It should be able to do that for us, and that is the most about it. Or simple things like lane corrections, or emergency stops. That is something AI autopilots can already do, especially in vehicles. When they detect a huge object and we're coming at a certain speed, it will automatically stop for us if we're not paying attention whatsoever, or if we don't brake harder enough. But I believe that's only for certain vehicles. That last part, braking harder enough. But my whole point is, sorry, they should not overtake human control. Um, Another thing has to do with, ChatGPT. My way of saying text remixing. Uh, which of course, because it's a public text generator, it should only give the users, which is us when we use it, access to user information gathering, limited information gathering, rather than total remixing. Because of how much information it collects, it can create this ginormous document of all this information that we need or might not need, but is of course helpful. And to the point also where students can also use it, and I might have forgotten to mention this also, because of how much it's remixed. It's complete paraphrasing. It's so hard for it to plagiarize whatsoever. But I feel like it should only give us a basic understanding rather than full information. So this may include, like we ask for it to give me information on what are the best what are the best ideas for creating recipes with these certain ingredients. It should give us like a list of sources, that might help us or that might answer our question. Or, just short summaries. You know how like, Siri and Cortana, they only give us short summaries, but that is only based off of the Google search that they get. It should be something like that. They can add a little bit more information, of course, but it should only be short summaries from these databases that they find online. And to the point where it prevents exploitation from students, artists, or just anyone in general, basically. And at the end of the day, of course, AI is not necessarily the problem. It's only our full exploitation, our own reliance and dependency on AI that it has such a negative effect on us as humans. Um,
Joshua, I
but
just
of
want to give
course,
you a note that you have 9 minutes left, but so you've got to leave some time for Q&A, yeah, before your
no
time
problem.
expires at
Actually, this
10.
should be the last slide. But of course, um, in order for this to happen, we also need human effort as well, establish human effort. Because whether if we implement limiting or non-limiting AI, like we have currently, humans also must be taught and told to understand in order to prevent these negatives that can affect us in the long term, that we mustn't solely rely and depend on AI. As while it is a tool made to benefit us for anything practically, um, it will bring a long-term effect that is negative on us, which of course, like I've said about multiple times, impedes our abilities and knowledge. Um, because at the end of the day, we're imperfect, so we will rely on something that we think is perfect. But at the same time, AI is not always perfect. So it is both for our own mental long term as well as our physical safety. And that is about it. Thank you very much.